Hello, beautiful artisans. Welcome to Echo Art with Carmella-T. If you are new to the channel, welcome. Jump on board. It's free. And we create with all recycled materials, fabrics, and supplies. And if you're coming back, thank you so much for coming back. I totally love your suggestions, your questions. Someone said, hey, can you do a square yo-yo? And I'm going to show you how to do a square yo-yo, but I'm going to give you a couple of tips because the yo-yos, the essence of the square yo-yo is kind of a soft, round corners as it is. So if there's a couple of things that are off, it could come out like a circle kind of. So this is the circle yo-yo, the traditional yo-yos that we've been doing, and it's super simple. It's just a circle, and then you are folding it as you sew. The same uh, rule. I hate to say that word. The same rule applies to your square yo-yo. Now look at the now look at the difference. Okay, you have your round and your square. So there's a couple of things I'm going to show you that make this square. And now one is the finer and more exact that your square is. For example, it will help with the shape of your square yo-yo. Okay, I measured this myself. This is 9 by 9. So you can see maybe it's not absolutely perfect. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and we're going to make this. And then I'm going to show you at the end what helps to get your square shape out. So we're going to do this together. And the first thing is, I'm going to put this down so you can follow. And the first thing is get it towards you so you're nice and comfortable in how you are sewing. And what you're going to do is first fold your edge just like you normally would. Okay? Now, if you want, you can go all the way around and fold your edges. You're going to fold this over that one. And then when you come down here, you're going to fold this one. And you're going to do this all the way around. But when you come to the end here, you just want to pay attention to this section, because what you want to do at the end is make sure you fold this over too. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this. And so typically people will leave a little room at the end there, just so you have room to fold and to stitch. So, and you can fold it like that to just see where you might begin. So I'm going to start right over here. That gives me enough room when I'm coming in to finish, to be able to finish, to be able to fold it over at that point. Now you can do a complete running stitch, because that's what we do, is the running stitch. Now the gather, because this is more in the center, you're going to see these gathers are going to be kind of large, but that's okay, because I want this piece large to show you. Now, before I get to the end, first of all, I'm going to pull this through. I want to keep it gathered. What you want to do is fold this. Now, what I do is I complete my running stitch, pull my gather, and then I turn. So, and then I start my running stitch. Now, because I'm turning it towards me, it just makes it so much easier to be able to stitch along. You just want to be careful. See what I almost did? It was kind of like going like that. It's just double check your fold, make sure that you're keeping it even as you're going along, because it's super easy for that to for it to kind of fold over even more. So we're going to just stitch that. Now we want to remember, again, you want to remember you're coming to another row. So you're going to fold this and take this needle back one to give ourselves room. Okay? But look how fast it's going. And we're more than halfway through. And this was a 9x9. Okay, so now we're on our third row. And we just continue. Now, the farther down you are on your running stitches, you may get more of a gather. The more you are closer to the top, the less of a gather you will have, or you'll see. Okay. So now we want to remember every time we're going to turn a corner, we're going to fold. We fold that corner. That's the biggest difference between doing your square and doing your circle. And now I'm going to turn this towards me, and I'm going to be mindful. You see that little corner right there? This is actually our first row. So I want to be mindful when I get over here that that's folded like that. So, and here it is. Here's the beginning of it, the beginning of the last row. That might be the most complicated part of this, is you got to pay attention to that. So that's this is our last row. We're folding it, and we may have to slow down a little bit to stay oriented to the fold. We want to make sure we're folding that. Now, I'm keeping my eye on that little corner. And we just continue our running stitches, pulling our gathers. Okay, now here we are, here, right towards the end, and this needs to be folded. So I'm going to do it right now, because that way I can reach it, I can sew. I've got it in place now. I'm just going to fold that a little bit better. The tricky part of this is that you're kind of folding that twice, just like we've been doing through the whole piece. But the difference here is that you don't have a lot of room to work with, and you're at the end of it, and you're trying to get oriented and finish this up. And I'm just going to continue through a few of these here to get my gathers. Now, some people go around twice, but I'm going to kind of stop it here, and I'm going to do the loop that I've shown you in the past to lock it. And that way I can pull my gathers in there too. And I want to end on the inside. So if I'm coming on the outside, which I just did, that's okay. All I'm going to do is bring my needle down through one of the gathers on the inside. And then I'm going to start the knot because I want to make sure my gathers are all set before I start shaping it and pulling it into the square that it is. And before I do that, I just want to show you something on the other square that I made. So I'm going to tie this 3 times because this thread I'm using is a little thin. And I'm going to pull it through my yo-yo like I normally do. So the thread is on the inside, and then just clip it and then just pull the fabric out so the thread can hide in there. Okay. Now with this yo-yo right here, you see here how the square is formed. It's because I went and I made sure I pulled everything out. Now I could do the same here and I'm not going to get a square because it's not a square. So you get your square like that. And I just call that kind of like shaping it a little bit. So first I want to get oriented to where I don't ever really find where the corners are necessarily, but I do know that I want to get that centered. That's super important to me. And I feel like it makes a really big difference. So, whoops. You can see the square. So there's your square. And it looks like a little flower, and it does here too. It looks like a little flower when you pull it like that. So I did this and I noticed that it made a very nice difference in the shape. Now, if this was die cut or perfectly cut, let's say, it would be more of a sharp type of square. And the same with this one. It would be a sharper type of square. But because we're dealing with a little tension, and maybe I sewed it a little tighter here, you can see that difference. And, you just get your gathers, focus on your gathers a little bit. And once you do this once or twice and you've got it and it won't take such a dramatically long time. But that's how you do your squares. So I hope that helps. And you can see this one is off a tiny bit. This one is a little bit better. And but they are really cutesy. And then these are circles. You could do circles and squares. You can mix them. How adorable would that be? So with that, those are my few tips. So fold every single time you're going along an edge. And then when you're done, pull like this, pull on the corners so you can help shape your little square. And that's how you do a yo-yo square. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions, let me know. We can do more. And but those are the tips. Cut it. The more exact you cut it, the more the easier it is to get that square. So with that, you have a beautiful evening.